Welcome to Julie Whitney Scott Presents Let's Talk Theater, a Mind for God production sponsored event, heard only on WGRN LP 94.1, the Green Renaissance Station. Let's Talk Theater.
Welcome to Let's Talk Theater. I'm your host, Julie Whitney Scott, and once again, I am bringing to you someone in the theater world that you probably didn't even know about, because I didn't know about him either. That's what Let's Talk Theater is all about. It's about new shows and meeting new people and finding out where you can go to find great theater. Right here in Ohio, I have with me today Miss Darryl Bojanowski. She is with us today to talk to us about her theater company and what they've got coming up for some of you people out there who are looking for something to produce. Hey, there's a musical out there that you can license right now today. And Terry's going to talk to us all about that. Terry, welcome to Let's Talk Theater.
It's great. Thank you.
Talk to us and tell us about you, Terry.
Okay. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. Got 2 music degrees from Ohio State, bachelor's and master's in music education. I was musical director for many shows in the whole Columbus area, Players Theater, Gallery Players, the colleges, Ohio State, Capital University, pretty much everybody who produced theater that did a musical, Actors Theater. I ended up either accompanying only or accompanying in musical directing. Sometimes I directed from the piano, which is not my favorite thing, but needs to be done sometimes. That's one of my favorite shows of all was at Players Theater. We did a little night music, and I sat at the piano. I had a small orchestra, and I conducted from the piano, and that's such a wonderful score. Bless Stephen Sondheim. So that's one of my fond memories from that. So I did all the musicals. When I went to Ohio State in undergrad, I ended up accompanying on the piano for many of my friends who were having to do, because we were all in music education, we had to do a graduating recital. So they played different instruments. So I played their piano accompaniments. So I kind of got known for that. And that led me to a few years later, after I had graduated, Ohio State called me and said, "We'd like you to come back and be a staff accompanist. Would you come back as a graduate student, and we'll give you a master's degree tuition free?" No brainer, right? So that was pretty exciting. I also got paid a graduate stipend in addition to 3, and it wasn't 2 years, it was 3 years they gave me. So that was a wonderful way to get my master's degree and have some classes actually that I wouldn't have had time for in a 2-year program. So then after that, a few years later, I married my husband, Darryl, and he is a writer. Well, actually, we met because a theater director in the area was in our church, and she wanted to produce a show called I'm Getting My Act Together and Taking It on the Road. Jean Ann Weaver, I think was her name. Some people might remember her. So it turns out that that's where we kind of got our act together and got married. And it was a show about performers getting their act together and going on the road, which is what it ended up doing. We started producing some shows. Darryl did small musicals that he wrote, and I did some review kind of things, all music. And we hired a small company, and we were called Entertainment Originals. We did Darryl's original shows, and we took them around usually for mall shows. They're really great because you can go out on the weekend. They give you a pretty good fee for going out on the weekend, doing like Friday night, Saturday, or Friday day, all day Saturday, 3 shows and 2 shows on Sunday. So you're there for 3 days. You can still do your day job, which was great. And so that was really a lot of fun. And so by that mall connection, we ended up getting a call from our mall in Columbus, New Market Mall, which we had never performed for before. They called and said, gosh, we've lost a lot of our tenants. We need patrons to come back. We need to have stores come back. Can you do some theater here? They gave us a 10,000 square foot mall space for free. For free. This is the second deal in my life, getting the master's degree and then getting the theater space. So we said, oh, sure, we can do that. So we took the people that we'd been working with and we put together a season of summer. It was a summer thing. And we did family oriented. It was called Family Theater, New Market Mall Family Theater. And we just got going and we didn't stop for 5 years. The downside of that whole story was that our arrangement with the mall was we were their marketing basically. And so we had the space for free, but as people came back, then the merchants came back and they said the theater was so successful, we would be the last group or the last mall space to be leased. And so at the end of 5 years, we were starting our 6th season. We had already sent out the brochure. We had already gone to our first auditions for that coming season, and we got a 30-day notice. The theater was gone. So
that I know that was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking
to put that out, and it's so heartless too that they could have told you that before you started out the season.
Well, no, absolutely, they did. We always knew that.
It was one of those things that you already knew that any day now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we kind of did things. We started with the family theater stuff. A couple of years in, we started doing 2-act things. Then we offered dinner theater with the 2-act shows. And then we ended up doing some book shows, some small book shows with our cast, because Darryl needed a break. I mean, he wrote 39 musicals, 1-acts and 2-acts.
And musicals are not that easy.
Right. He writes
book. That's a whole other ball game.
He writes book, music, and lyrics, so a triple threat. And so we did the small musicals. We did like Jerry's Girls and Ruthless, the musical. That was a really fun one. We did Dames at Sea and, some of those small shows. And that gave him a little breather. So did you compose the music? He did the lyrics? How did that work? No, he did everything.
Everything?
He wrote the book.
Where is he? He needs to be in this interview.
He did the whole thing. Now, one of our cast members, I should mention that we were a professional theater company. Something that was really important to us was that we pay our people, the 5 people that were the nucleus. We had lots of other things going on. We just felt like we wanted to have that core group of actors, but they had to be ones that had some other talents too. So each one of us wore many hats to make that theater run. And then we had incredible volunteers. Oh my gosh, our volunteers were so amazing. And part of the volunteers came to us because we had an internship program for children who were interested in performing as a career, and they wanted to get some experience on stage. So we had auditions, and Darryl started writing shows that had parts, either single parts or small chorus parts for young children. Some of them were quite young as I think 6, and up to about 14. We had Worthington Parks and Recreations bring kids over in their summer. No, I think that was during school year, Parks and Recreation program. And we did classes with them too. So we were running, and here's was my slogan, all musicals, all year. And we did. It was all musicals, all year. So anyway, so we did all this. We paid our people. We actually paid equity standard at that time, a little bit above that for the 5 people. There were 4 actors, multi-talented, and then the 5th one was the tech person who did all things tech. And so when you were saying who wrote what or what, but Darryl wrote the music, he wrote the script and the lyrics, but then Stephen, our great, one of our great actors, he ended up doing the piano parts, and then Darryl would add instrumentation to it. We did it with digital. We didn't have any space for an orchestra or anything, nor a budget. So he did that. And then I did costuming. I did the managing director, kind of marketing, kind of that stuff. Our volunteers took up all kinds of slack because there was so much to do. And then we just ran with it. And we knew we were running until it stopped. And that's what happened.
Well, it seems like you have been really blessed.
We have.
What with the OSU being able to, get a master's degree in that extra year,
Right.
and be paid.
Right.
Student's dream. Student's dream to end up with no debt. To end up with no student loan hanging over your head, and then to be, even though it ended, to have those 5 years of having a space, that you could call home is so valuable.
Right. Absolutely. We were able to bring schools in, small groups, and as schools come in. And you're right, it meant everything to have a space. A lot of people have to perform in a space that's used by other people and all that. And we just could do what we wanted for that 5 amazing years.
Changes have you seen from when you guys were doing your own digital stuff to when you first started off to the things that are happening now with producing musicals? In your musicals, and then you have a new musical, right, that you just have put out there. Talk to us about this musical that you guys are working on now, that you want to have people that give us the opportunity to produce.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, I mentioned that Darryl had written 39 shows. So we've retired we were actually school teachers. We moved to New Jersey. I skipped that part. We moved there and did high school music teaching, directing musicals at our schools. We each went to different schools and did our thing. And so we both retired just a year and a half ago. And we moved here. And our act 2 is what I'm saying. Our act 2 is to make a production package out of every show he wrote. So our first show, we are all finished with. We didn't have orchestrations because it was just Stephen playing the piano and Darryl adding some digital instruments. And we knew that we wanted to add the full orchestration. So we found someone out of the gate. Again, we were totally blessed to find this amazing orchestrator in Cedar Falls, Iowa. And we have digitally worked with him, and he has created really wonderful orchestrations for our first show, which is the Canterville Ghost. Canterville Ghost is a story by Oscar Wilde. It's kind of the loose framework for what Darryl wrote the show about. And it's a very funny, small cast musical comedy. We're offering a production package that I think has innovations that even the big guys, Music Theater International and all the big producer people that you think of when you're going to do a musical, I think we've got some special things. For instance, as a music director, I kept being irritated when I would have just little rehearsal time with my orchestra that I didn't have a full orchestral score. I just had little cues every once in a while, the oboe plays here and I didn't know really because I couldn't see the whole score. I mean, when an orchestra conductor conducts the orchestra, they see everything that the instruments are playing. So we have added that. That is part of our production package, is a full orchestral score. So saves tons of time. I'm really pleased with that. Another thing that used to bug me in rehearsing shows, I think I've probably musical directed maybe 70 shows altogether, and maybe more than that in my whole career. And it used to bug me because they put the script at the front of the libretto, and then they put the music, the lead sheets, at the back. And then the kids, especially high school kids, oh my gosh, they're not very organized. And so they're reading their script. Oh, wait a minute, Miss B, wait a minute. I got to go. I can't find my page. Where's what? It's number 3. Please find it quickly. And so we have integrated. So you are reading your script and you find your music, and you read your script and you find your music, and it just keeps on going. It's like one continuous show. Seems like, that should have been done long ago. But anyway, we're trying to offer that now.
Man, that really sounds great, Terry, because like you said, musicals are so complicated, when you go, because of all the pieces. He has a piece and you have a piece and I have a piece. And, it's like, can all 3 of us get together with our pieces and, and put this thing together?
Right. So that's part of the package. We have the regular piano vocal score that, has the piano part for the accompanist or the, pianist who's going to play in the orchestra. So we have all the regular bells and whistles. And then we have one other new innovation. It's called Rehearsal Live Share. It's from a company in New York called Real-Time Music Solutions. And they do, they create things that are for some of the musicals that are, especially that MTI produces. It's called Rehearse Score. And the cast can learn their parts digitally by actually hearing their notes played and all that. And they can mute the other parts and just listen to their part. And it's all integrated with their dialogue and stuff. You can see if there's dialogue in the middle, there's a vamp going on and stuff. Anyway, it's a really great tool, but this company sold that part of it off to MTI, and now they're offering this Rehearsal Live Share. When we all went to digital learning in schools, and I was part of that, oh my gosh, that was really scary. I have to throw in a side story. This has nothing to do with, well, it kind of has to do with what I'm going to tell you. But we were doing West Side Story at the high school. And we came up to the first run through of it before the professionals came in on Saturday. That was on Thursday. And at the same time, we were rehearsing West Side Story, ready for production. At the middle school, I was doing a middle school musical. I had done a musical there for the last 5 or 6 years. And this was called At the Bandstand. So the kids were in rehearsal for that. And so the night we did the West Side Story run through was our last day of school. And we had to tell them that night that we were going to digital learning and we probably weren't going to do the show. And at the same time, I had to digitally tell my students in the middle school, I'm sorry, we can't do At the Bandstand, but I'll try to learn some kind of digital editing and see if I can pull it off. Well, I spent so much time and loved every minute of it, or most every minute of it, learning digital editing. And I had those kids on Zoom saying their lines, and I'm cutting and pasting and putting it all together. And it was 45 minutes of intense stuff. And it was really fun to coordinate, and everybody did their part, and they tried to find costumes, and luckily it was kind of modern day, so it wasn't that big a deal. And it was really fun. So anyway, so we kind of did this Rehearsal Live Share, but we didn't do it very well. Now this company, Real-Time Music Solutions, has figured out a way where the people can sing at the same time as everybody else, digitally long distance. And that's new. That's a real new innovation. Back then, I got my choir, the high school choir, together because they were going to do their spring concert. And it was just terrible. It was feedback and you couldn't understand anything anybody was doing. So that went down the drain really quickly. And so they have figured out how to do that so that people can actually rehearse live. So as part of our package, it's an add-on, but our package is about half the price of other places. We're trying to make it a real affordable thing especially for schools. So it's just a $15 a month, and usually people rehearse for 2 months, and so then you can get rid of the subscription, so you've only spent $30, and the cast sees their part, and they can hear their notes played, and they can sing along with it, and they can, go back and go over their part over and over. So they learn all of these songs. And this is all part of the Canterville Ghost package. It's a big production pack. It's got a study guide. It's got, I have an editable program that's all figured out how to do everything, where you put everything in the program, so it doesn't take so much time to do it on your own. And everything that we ever needed is in that production pack. So the directors hopefully will be really happy about that.
It really sounds like it. I mean, it really sounds like, especially with the digital live piece,
right,
of being able to have them come together and rehearse that.
Right.
And it sound decent. And and having everything there in one spot. Sounds like you guys put a whole lot of work into that. How long did it take you guys to make to when you said, okay, well, this is the packet, we're ready to launch this baby?
Well, it's actually out there. Darryl is a member of there's a music company that most teachers use, teachers of choral music and band music, orchestra music. It's a company called J.W. Pepper, and they distribute music. It's a nationwide, worldwide, I think, distribution. So they also have a division called My Score, and Darryl is a member of their My Score composers. He's an independent composer with them, and they package people's new music, which is a new musical theater piece. And there's other composers that are doing that, but I think we're one of the few that's nobody's doing what we are doing exactly, but they distribute the music. So you go to J.W. Pepper, you can see our beautiful integrated libretto and vocal book. You can read through the whole thing. You can listen. We did a 5-minute demo of some of the songs. You can't listen to all of them because, we don't want it to be out there for everybody. So anyway, we have everything on J.W. Pepper for that one show, the Canterville Ghost. It's like I say, it's a small cast, seven people. We did it a couple of times. The girl who originated the role, this kind of a big role for a young girl, about a 13, 14-year-old girl. That girl ended up going after she worked with us and some other theater companies in Columbus. She auditioned she was actually our Dorothy in our Land of Oz. Darryl's has a Land of Oz show. And she was our Dorothy. She went to New York, did an audition for the national tour of the Wizard of Oz with Eartha Kitt and Mickey Rooney. This was a long time ago. She's grown up now. To see her growing up and doing all these wonderful roles. Well, she met and married a guy, a theater director. So they're in Michigan now, and they have their own theater. And it's just like we're watching us back then. And so I'm finding, as I'm networking with all these kids to tell them what we're doing, that worked in our playhouse, that were actors learning their craft, a lot of them are still doing something related to theater, and it's just so heartwarming. Yeah. One of our guys just did Trevor the Musical, a short run of it off Broadway, just a few months ago. So it's just thrilling to see them grown up and doing the things that we helped them learn. So
must be a joy to find somebody in your younger time, that has the same kind of passion that you have, and to still be together, in your senior, you know what I'm saying, in your senior years, especially in the, in the entertainment world and stuff, you know what I'm saying, and that you're still there. How special is that, Terry?
It's really amazing, and he is so incredibly talented. He went to Otterbein, and then he went to Ohio State for his master's. We didn't meet there. We met in the church thing. But anyway, it is amazing. And the fact that we got that 5 years in the middle of our careers, not when we're too old to be able to do it. I can't imagine doing that now. I mean, the intensity that we had to, keep producing everything and keep it going. And I don't know how he did 39 shows in that. I mean, it is just truly amazing. And it all has been sort of a fairy tale.
The young people that I worked with when they were young, kids, in middle school, high school, college, and like you said, and then I see them, and I because I keep in touch with some of them, and then to find out that they are still doing that passion, and that they are, have taken that and are still there and are still doing it. It's almost like, Terry, it's like, well, we know that when we're gone and stuff, our kind of legacy is still kind of carrying on, because it's in these children that are now adults that we had a hand in helping them hone in on their craft. Isn't that wonderful?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I want to do if we live long enough. It took us about 3 months to do the Canterville Ghost, start to finish, the whole package, getting the orchestrations. But now we have a model. So our next show is The Case of the Counterfeit Napoleon. It's a little bit bigger cast than Canterville Ghost. But as again, pretty much everything Darryl wrote is based on classic literature. And then he does his own thing. He does all the research, and he really stays strictly to the research. I want all of those shows to be packaged, please, if we live long enough, like I say, to get them all orchestrated and all as a package. And that's our legacy to the theater. So
yeah,
musical theater.
It's very exciting what you're talking about. Terry, how would people go about getting in direct contact with you, or whomever they need to get in contact with, so that they can get more information about producing?
Okay, it's our website. We are TND Musicals. If they just search TND Musicals or https://licensingmusicals.com. That's us. TND Terry Darryl. Because we thought there's MTI, Music Theater International, that's a really big one. And then there's TRW Theater Rights Worldwide is another one, that so people know MTI and they know TRW, and now they're going to know TND.
I like that, TND.
Yeah, that's
I like the TND, indeed.
Right. So licensingmusicals.com. And our website's got everything on it, pictures. Another thing in the production pack, we've given pictures of our sets and our costumes and some notes from each of us. I did the costume notes, he did the set and props notes, which helps, it's not that you're going to try to copy that, but a director can have a place to, reference, what time period, how did they do that? I don't like that, I'll do my own thing, I think it's got a really good basic thing that everybody can really get some use out of.
What kind of word of encouragement do you have to someone out there who is young or whatever, but have a vision on how they could, something they want to do? What kind of encouragement do you give to somebody to go ahead on there and take a chance on doing something? Because what you guys have done with this package is something that needed to be done, in my opinion, hasn't been done. Give some encouragement to somebody who also has some type of, I think there's a way that we can tweak this and make this better. What advice do you give them to go with that?
Absolutely believe in your dream. If it's your passion, you should follow it to the length that you possibly can. Even though there'll be roadblocks and people say, oh no, don't do that. Just keep on going. Just keep on believing. And that's, I think, been sort of a hallmark of our life, is we have just kept at it. And I know that when we were at the mall, we had about 20,000 people coming in every year to see all these different shows, the Act Twos and the Family Theater and the, all together. And we knew it was really giving them something. So that kind of helped us. I mean, it's hard when there's not a whole lot of encouragement. That gave us a lot of encouragement, that the shows were really being enjoyed. And working with the kids was absolutely wonderful, the children actors. But just believe in yourself. That's the best thing I can say. Don't give up. Absolutely don't give up.
Well, it's been so wonderful talking with you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for being on Let's Talk Theater. I can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see which company is going to produce that show.
Okay.
I'm excited for you. And
Thank
God
you.
bless you and your husband, and may you have many more years so that you can finish and complete this project, because it's something that I think is going to be beneficial and might just be one of those things that start off where people will look around and go, hey, this may be the start of making our lives easier when it comes to producing musicals.
We sure hope so. Thank
God
you.
bless.
Thank you for joining me, Julie Whitney Scott, your producer and host of Let's Talk Theater, a Mind for God production sponsored event, heard only on WGRN LP 94.1. For the full video interview, go to my Julie Whitney Scott Facebook page.